What's going on, everyone? This is Vince from Life with Vince Lou. Just got back from Goku Runner's virtual 5K, and sheesh, 5Ks are tough. They are hard, and I would much rather run 10 miles, 15 miles than do that again. And I'm gonna put the map and splits from Strava up here, and then from Fitbit up here. There is a little bit of a difference. On Strava, I think I ran 22:55. And on Fitbit, I ran 23:34. The annoying thing about Fitbit is that it rounds up. So it says 24 minutes, but it's 23:34. And I felt like I was running pretty hard. Like my lungs were like on fire. My legs were tightening up. But then once I finished and I walked, I basically recovered in a minute. So I probably wasn't pushing as hard as I could have. But it felt like really hard. Maybe it's just from my training style, because the runs that I've been doing are super chill runs, you know, at 9 minutes at fastest, and sometimes even 10 or 11 for 10 miles, 15 miles, or even my shorter runs are at that chill pace. So I'm glad I did it, and I'm glad I have an official time now. I think I'll just take the middle of those two, so whatever the middle is from 22:55 and 23:34. And I definitely know why my Fitbit malfunctioned when I timed the mile, is because usually when I start running, I'll turn it to run mode, click start, and then start running, and then the GPS will connect. But with Fitbit, I realized it actually today is that you can leave it on run, have the GPS connect, and then start running. So I'll definitely have to do the timed mile again, and I'm just glad that that's all over with. And yeah, that was tough. I would much rather do that 15 miles that I did a couple days ago. And woo, feel good. And today we have the Q&A of questions asked to me specifically through YouTube. I did screenshot all of these questions this morning. I should have screenshotted them when people asked me these past couple days, but I didn't. But I did my best to collect all of them. So let's get started. The first question from Kick It With Dang: when do I think jiu-jitsu gyms will open back up again up here? Honestly, I don't know. It's a little tricky with jiu-jitsu because it's such a close contact sport. You're literally right next to that other person, and you're sweating on each other and you're breathing on each other. Though I know that there are a few gyms that have started to open up like across the country or even across the world, and they have very specific just rules. Like you can only have a certain amount of people in the class, you can only roll with one partner, instruction is gonna be like a certain way. And I'm definitely interested to see how it'll all pan out. All right, next question from my YouTube friend Ariel. Is there a day you rest? I feel like you don't sleep or rest. I do have rest days. I usually will do active rest days, meaning I'll usually go on a super short run, 3 to 5 miles at a very, very easy pace. It actually pains me and stretches me out more if I do nothing all day. So I like to move. I like to have more active rest days than doing nothing and eating pizza on the couch. Next question from the G Life. Hey, do you ever experience tendonitis in your knees? Personally, I don't experience tendonitis in my knees. The only time that I've had knee issues in regards to running is when I've had shoes that were way over mileage. But once I swapped the shoes and got new shoes, it pretty much fixed my knee problems. So it could be something as simple as that. But again, consult your doctor. I am not a doctor or a professional in that field, but that's what helped me. Next question from my YouTube skateboarding friend Kiara. Hey Vince, what are the best workout plans for abs? This is all my opinion. In my opinion, there are two different approaches when you're talking about abs. And there is a lot of overlap, but you have to dial down of what you want from your ab routine. Do you want one to be shredded, to have a six-pack, to lose belly fat? Or do you want to have a stronger core for the sport that you're doing? For me, it would be running, it would be jiu-jitsu. For Kiara, it might be skateboarding. There's a lot of overlap in the two, though there are different approaches to get one or the other. So starting off, if you want to lose belly fat, if you want to be shredded, if you want to look lean, first thing you have to know is that there's no such thing as spot reduction. So spot reduction is if you want to lose belly fat and you're doing these crunches and sit-ups, that's not really going to help you. Yes, it will help you a little bit, but in order for you to lose belly fat and to be shredded and for your muscle to show, you don't need to be worried about directly hitting the abs. You need to be worried about burning more calories and losing weight overall. When you lose weight overall, based on your genetics, and everyone is a little bit different, your body will pull fat from wherever it is. So it might be your neck, it might be your arms, it might be your midsection, your legs. So for me personally, I store fat more in my front side than my back side. So when I'm leaning down, my back looks really shredded, and then my front, not as much as my in comparison to my back. And everyone is a little bit different. So if you want to lose belly fat and if you want to be shredded, I would recommend burning more calories, so doing more calorie efficient exercises. So for me, I personally like the powerlifting movements, so squat, bench, deadlift, anything that works the whole body. Because when you're working the whole body, you're burning more calories, right? Because when you're doing those compound movements, yes, it is like a deadlift or even like a squat, and it's mostly legs, but your core has to stabilize. You're putting that whole weight on you, right? Even the same thing with running. With like running and cycling, with running, you're using your whole body, right? But with cycling, you're only working your legs. That's why you burn more calories when you run versus when you bike. So I digress, but if you want to lose that belly fat, just make sure that you're doing more calorie burning exercises. Personally, I like as I said, the like powerlifting movements, just because they are generally can be a lot safer than, let's say, the Olympic lifts movements, right? Because when you're doing snatches, when you're doing cleans, there's just way more room for error for the common person. Yes, like CrossFitters and Olympic weightlifters, they are shredded, they look good, and yes, their workouts work very, very well for getting you shredded, for having that six-pack and building that just strong body core. But in my opinion, it's not worth the chance that you could get injured for the common person. If you're going to be doing it with a proper coach, then yes, I think that's a good avenue. But if you're just going to a gym and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna clean, I'm just gonna do all this and that, the pros and cons ratio for me isn't really worth it. And then on the other side, you have the idea of building a strong core. To build a strong core, I would suggest like getting those direct ab movements in, because when you're doing crunches, when you're doing sit-ups, when you're doing leg raises, any type of twisting movement, you're directly hitting the core and hitting the abs. Those types of exercises don't burn as much calories, but now you're hitting your core directly, and that'll build a stronger core. So hope that helps, Kiara, and to anyone that had that question, because I get asked that question actually a lot. Whoa, that last question took like 4 minutes. So I'm gonna try to speed through these. So my friend Mark Douglas asks, has your Fitbit Ionic been acting up recently? So my Fitbit Ionic acted up when I did my burn 10K calorie in a day challenge, and it stopped around 16 hours. So far, it's been good so far. I think the Fitbit works really well, and I'll do a full review coming soon. The Fitbit works well, and I really like it for day-to-day, but when you're doing like ultra events, when you're doing those super long 12-hour plus events, it doesn't work well in my opinion. Well, I've only had that one case of it not working well, so I think I'm definitely going to upgrade to a more serious running watch. So next one, a very similar question from Corey and Sam. When is my next marathon or my ultra marathon? So I've only done one marathon ever, and that was last year. and I don't plan on doing another one anytime soon. I do want to do an ultra marathon, however. I want to get in at least 150 and 100 by the end of the year. If races don't open back up, I'm just going to run it around the lake like I did last time, but I will be running at least 150 and 100 miler by the end of the year. Next question from DevRunner. He asked me how I like my vest and if I have any others to compare it to. The running vest that I wear in all my runs, it's the only one that I wear. I will be doing a full review on it. Again, dang, I have a lot of full reviews coming soon, but I really like it personally. The value is really good. It's like 30 bucks and it's held up. It does everything that I need it to do. Lenny Lung asked when all the BJJ stuff is coming back in regards to my jiu-jitsu videos. So I did do a little bit of a jiu-jitsu video yesterday. It's just a little bit hard to do those jiu-jitsu YouTube videos when I'm not going to jiu-jitsu. So they will be coming back pretty soon as I get back on the mats. And I'm gonna try to sprinkle more of jiu-jitsu stuff in because I obviously really like it. Health, Wealth, Happiness Brendan asked how was growing up on a chicken farm. So if you didn't know, I did grow up on a chicken farm, and not like 5 to 10 chickens. It was more like 20,000, 30,000 chickens. Personally, I liked it and I enjoyed it because that's all I knew. I grew up at that house until I left for college, and it was definitely different than living in the suburbs, but it was really all I knew. We had so much land that we were constantly outside, running around, going outside to play basketball because we had a basketball hoop. We were outside catching bugs. At that point, I wasn't scared of bugs, but now I kind of am. We were catching like grasshoppers. And we had like a field in the back, and we would play paintball there. So I would have my friends over, we would make our own paintball course, and we would play paintball. So it was really cool to live on a farm. My good YouTube friend Mimi asked, what is your favorite part of the Chinese culture? Does your family celebrate all American and Chinese holidays? My personal favorite part of my Chinese culture is the idea of filial piety. And there is a very deep meaning and just a deep seatedness. I don't know really how to describe it, but there's something that's just in my core that I want to make my parents proud, and I don't want to let them down. And it's kind of the stuff that you saw in Mulan, like don't bring dishonor to your family, because that stuff is real. And for me, I like it a lot, and there is just something in me, and I can't really put it into words, of I want to make them proud, and I want to do things that they recommend, and there's just a very close family tie within the Chinese culture, and it's family, it's all family based. And at times I find it a little bit difficult, to be honest with you, to balance the American culture of independence and the Chinese culture of family and family ties, because there is a huge difference, especially with the traditional Chinese side of things and the like independent side of things. And it's just really different. Anyways, just going back to the question, you know, that's probably my favorite part, is the connection that I have with my parents and with my family. And yes, we do celebrate most holidays, Chinese and American holidays, but for me personally, Chinese New Year's is a way bigger holiday than Thanksgiving and Christmas. Tamika Doesn't Quit asks, how long have you been a vegetarian? I've been a vegetarian for about 11 months now. I started on June 22nd of last year. Turnin Runnin asks, top 5 anime, and do you use caffeine? Yes, I use caffeine. I have about 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day. If I am drinking pre-workout, then I'll have 1 cup of coffee a day plus like 2 scoops of pre-workout. And as far as my top 5 anime, I definitely should have thought about this beforehand. But off the top of my head, Naruto would be number 1 for sure. Trigun, I really like Trigun. I really liked Claymore. And Demon Slayer, One Punch Man. I think those would be a good top 5 for me personally. Yeah, I would have to think about that a little bit harder, but those are my top 5 for now. Lifeful Jack asks, how's your nutrition? Are you trying to bulk up? Right now, I am not trying to bulk up. I am purely trying to maintain my weight. My nutrition is going well. My recovery is going well. Right now, my goal is strictly performance. My good YouTube friend, Plant-Based MMA, aka Jade, asked me, on long runs, do you listen to music, podcasts, or audiobooks? Usually on long runs, I listen to music for the first 20 minutes just to get me pumping. And then once I ease in to the middle miles, I'll go for a podcast or an audiobook, and then like the last 3 or 4 miles, I'll kick it back up to music. So I really like to sandwich it in so that I can start off well, and then in the middle learn, and then at the end finish strong. WM asks, you're outside all the time, shouldn't you be darker? Yes, I should be darker, but I'm not. I wear a hat. I typically also like to run in the morning, though I am getting a little bit of a farmer's tan. Not sure if you can tell. And actually, did you know in Chinese culture, the lighter the skin that you have, the more that you resemble, at least back in the old days, as royalty. So when people ask me, why are you so light-skinned? Especially when I used to live in San Diego and I lived there for like 9 years, I'd be like, yo, did you know in the past I was actually Chinese royalty? I was just reborn. So there you go. And boom, I answered all the questions. If you have any other questions for me, let me know down below. Would love to do another Q&A, or maybe I can just start incorporating these into like my daily vlogs. If I have 2 or 3 questions, I'll just include it into my daily vlogs. I think that'd be kind of cool. I am experimenting with like the content, the format of my vlog, so I could play around with that as well. So thanks for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. See you all tomorrow.